Uh, well, I feel the need to make this just because I haven't kind of done a check-in of any kind, but um, nothing's really changed. I mean, certainly nothing's gotten better. In some ways, I've gotten worse, but a lot of those gotten worse are kind of like how I am, um, how I was declining anyway before this year. This has been a hell of a shitty year. But I guess what I really wanted to talk about more than, sort of that baseline shit and I mean, the only way that I can cope is sort of the way that I cope anyway, and I think most people cope with everything, and most people avoid looking too deeply at, like, the misery that's inherent in existence, um, which is to just distract myself. Now, here's the problem. I can't go outside. I can't do anything where my mind is not sort of fully overwhelmed by, such chaos that I have time to actually think at all. Every good and bad thing that I experience includes this big heaping load of pain. I've been here before, at least I think I have. It feels worse this time, but, I mean, how can you tell? I think memory shies away from these pains given enough time, It sort of forgets how bad things are. That's why the rough periods in life, some of my best memories with my recent wife are kind of troubled times, like when there was no heat, or when she was so fucking miserable because of noise or something, and we had to find another place to live, and there was all this pressure and everything. But at the same point, that was a time, in each case of dramatic change in the life that made things easier. But again, that's not the intention here. It's just that's sort of the baseline, is this, I go out for a walk and I see something nice, or I'm sitting at my window and I see little animals, or anything new, whatever, old, it doesn't matter. All I can think of is I would come home and tell her, or if she was around, if it's like a squirrel playing, or deer, or something, I would run down and get her and show her. And that was kind of the only positive thing in my life anyway, I mean, in a lot of ways. It was the only sort of joy that I shared with another person, right? This doesn't count. I know that when I video things, other people get pleasure out of it, but I don't see it. So it's not the same kind of thing. And it's just, I don't know. And frankly, I'm not as invested in any of you. Unless there's some people who are watching this that I don't know about. But if there are, if I might be invested, let me fucking know. But, yeah, no. No, what I more wanted to look at was my patterns of depression, seasonal, sad, whatever. Uh, I've always kind of had these. Um, it's funny. The long days of summer, I can kind of stay inside during all of them. And this is what was good about Phoenix, to tell you the truth, is that it was kind of always nice weather. Sometimes it was too hot to want to go out, but that's okay. It's just too hot to want to go out. There was never like this feeling of, oh my God, it it's March. I had better enjoy the cool weather while it's still here, because it's sort of this gradual heating up, and then there's really hot days. But you can go out in the hot days, and whatever. And there's the nights. Everything. There's never like this. Yeah, it's just yuck everywhere, and there's always the pool, or whatever. There was always something you could do outside, so there was never a pressure on me um, to experience things while I still could. Seasons, I love the seasons. I love autumn more than any other season. But maybe it depresses me more than any other season. Um, because the days are getting shorter, and they seem to get shorter here. I don't know if it's just a latitude thing. Longitude. No, it's got to be latitude. My poor brain is getting older, and I don't know if I would have remembered normally anyway. I guess the difference is that I have the time to reflect here, something I wouldn't in a normal conversation. I just blather over, blah, 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 and somebody might correct me, but usually people don't. But this is sort of closer to posting online, but on the other hand, I'm not in the position to really reflect quite the same. It's more like when I'm out on my walks talking to myself, something I don't do enough of, but the time is running out for them because the winter is coming. Speaking of which, so I'm like watching more like Game of Thrones analysis for some reason. I was really kind of excited about watching it all when the show ended, but this is more about the book and where the book might go and stuff like that. And I just find it it's weird. Somehow I got into that after digging into some Lord of the Rings stuff, which, at least I've read a lot of the material. With the Game of Thrones, I've read like one book. I have another one. It's not bad or anything. It's just, I don't know. But it was kind of funny. The guy kept pointing out H.P. Lovecraft connections, and it's like, yeah, those are pretty fucking clear. But I was seeing some Moorcock, especially Elric connections there, and that's got me kind of, it may just be the fantasy tropes, but let's go back. How did I get here? Yeah, winter. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I had to activate myself a little bit to try to get my roof done. Because I still can't call anyone. I've gotten one thing done this year, which is more than I did, other years. But I still have a leaky sink. I got to have somebody clean the roof. Pretty soon I'm going to have somebody replace the roof. The way things are going. I can see the damage accruing, but, I don't think that's so much lack of cleaning. I think some of it's just age. Some of it may be the roughness of the way I have to clean. Kind of trying to whittle in with window cleaning devices and stuff, but I don't know. I can't imagine that somebody walking around up on it, hanging from ropes, is all that much less damaging in terms of ripping out the occasional shingle or something. Yeah. So, sad has always impacted me to some extent. Obviously, the less daylight, especially late in the day. Late in the day, after work, after school, whatever that is, That's when I want to do things. Now I've arranged my life a little bit so that I can get away with that, right? So like, I don't play with daylight savings. Like I won't accept it. Ever since Arizona, I'm like, screw that shit. I hate that. You know, I mean, it's like, why the fuck do I want the dark to come, you know, while I'm still working or whatever? It's not like I am on, you know, when I was leaving the house or whatever, it's not like I was leaving and it was a shiny, bright day in the morning. It's like, but if I'm going to be in a cubicle working, you know, or at home working in front of the computer, it doesn't matter what the daylight is. There might be some slight advantages to to seeing some daylight, but for the most part, fuck that shit, right? But if I want to be able to go outside or something, that kind of has to be outside my normal working hours. It might be one of the reasons why I wanted to work at night always, but the weird thing is I liked sleeping during the day too, so, and I still do. It's just, I don't know. Especially when it's really sunny and bright out. But yeah, I'm feeling the impact now. Every year since I've gotten here, it feels worse. But my wife pointed out to me that she saw it in Phoenix too, and it's not just the days getting shorter; it's something else that goes on along with that, which is lots of holiday time. Work is one of the things that kind of keeps me grounded at all to any kind of anything, you know. I mean, I don't necessarily get more or less done in my personal life whether or not I'm working. There are periods of great chaos where I can get shit done, but for the most part, work is one of the ways that I hide from the misery of existence, you know? And that was a pleasure that I didn't realize, you know? It was sort of the big thing with being able to work with my mind instead of working physical type stuff or pointless stuff. I guess it kind of applied on the telemarketing, but I hated telemarketing so much that like my whole goal in telemarketing was to avoid doing the work. It was like, you know, dial a number when I didn't get an answer again and again and again. You know, it was just such a fucking hideous thing when you got an answer and had to actually talk to someone. Not that I was bad at it somehow, but the way. Anyway, you know, it's similar to like playing computer games. I'll play really, really fucking stupid computer games that have no thought, no story that I'm paying attention to. I'll just click through the story, whatever, and nothing really pleasant, but they just shut down my mind, you know. But like when I worked at a parking garage, I had all the time in the world to walk around and think. And I thought that was a great thing about the job, to tell you the truth. And it kind of was. Because I don't just think about the misery of my existence. I thought about other things like the game I was running or whatever. I need something like that to occupy myself. And too often, I don't have that right now. I don't know if I could. But another factor that fits in along with just like the days getting shorter and this kind of feeling like wasted another year, you know, here come the holidays and I'm going to be depressed because I have vague memories stretching back to childhood, but also in certain periods of adulthood where I actually enjoyed the holiday, at least certain aspects of them, you know, like And that hasn't been the case in a long, long time. Instead, you know, I mean, we tried a couple of times to kind of vaguely celebrate, like, it's so fucked up because when I first got out on my own, away from my family and whatever, and started, being with, living the life with someone and trying to celebrate holidays with them. It was sort of this pathetic little shadow of, what Christmas is supposed to be or whatever. But the love was there, and there was a way to, like, it just ended up special in its own little kind of pathetic way. It was like, kind of, I don't know, it felt like a Bob Cratchit Christmas type thing or something. It felt more meaningful than, the big elaborate shit that, like, my mom would do when I was younger or anything. I mean, not when I was really young, then it meant something. But later on, it felt like, an excess of opening of presents or something. But in this last marriage, there was never really, like, we attempted to reach that sort of thing, or at least I did, but I feel like it just didn't work. And I don't know if it's me or if it was her, or a little of both of us or whatever. It just wasn't as special. There was one exception. There was a night where we had to, and this is again the difficulty issue, where we ran out, first year here, for Thanksgiving, to get Thanksgiving stuff. And we kind of made a special thing of that. And that actually sticks in my mind better than, like the first Christmas that we had back in Phoenix or whatever, so many years ago. But I can remember, I mean, she and I didn't spend much time together anymore. I can remember sitting in front of the computer fucking playing my stupid mindless games and jacking off or whatever. Yeah, and presumably her doing whatever she does every other day or did every other day in the same sort of way. It being so pointless, there being nothing special anymore about it. And whatever we'd try to light for special, it would just be like every other day. And so all of that kind of whatever magic there might have been just didn't accumulate for most days. The one time it did was running out because I wanted to get Thanksgiving stuff, and we went out together with our backpacks, and it was dark on the way. It was getting dark on the way there, and it was dark on the way home. And shopping's a bigger deal here, and then had to cook the stuff. It was just like a turkey breast, boneless, whatever. But it was the kind of thing I had done before. It was the kind of thing that, I shared other times with other people. And it felt a whole hell of a lot better than recently. So you've got the holidays, you've got the changing, of the amount of daylight. You've got the changing of the seasons where it's not pleasant to go out in the same way. So you feel on the few days, if you waste them, you feel like you've really fucked something up and made life worse. And I should feel that way about every fucking day, though. Because every day I'm making life worse for myself. I mean, I just don't want any of this shit. But there's one more thing, which is taking the time off work. Every year, we accumulate X amount of vacation time. And this year, I got more than my share because of bereavement time. And there's sort of this, hey, you got to take a bunch of days off or you lose them. And I end up taking a big hunk of December off. Now, this year we were required to, allocate our, I hope this shit changes, but allocate our vacation time ahead of time because we're doing this really fucked up scheduling shit that is just racking us. I mean, it's gotten rid of most of the senior people in my organization. Just because, not just that, but seeing this coming and seeing the changes coming and not agreeing with them and not wanting to go through the hell any longer that, what had been an incredibly comfortable job where we could really shine at what we're good at. Now we're being asked to do something completely different, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, you lost all the people who were actually really, really capable of doing what we used to do. And we got a lot of people who, maybe you're better at organizing, or we have a fair amount of newer people left, but yeah, we lost a lot of the people that, there's like one person I respect left in terms of doing the main work that I do. And he's relatively new. But yeah, I just would end up having these blocks of time, and then I become unhinged during those blocks. Now, like I said, this year we were actually required to grab the time early. What that meant, it's so fucking hard for me to pull the trigger on anything. I'd love to visit my dad. I still can't fucking figure out how to get out of the airport. It's like, look, you can give me suggestions, but it's the same shit as with the house. It's like, no, it's too complicated. I can't face it, It's like, it used to be simple. I'd go in, I'd get picked up. That's not possible now. It was a little bit more complicated, and I couldn't handle that. I go in, I grab this bus that takes me to near where my dad used to live, and he would be able to pick me up from there. Well, we never did that because that was too complicated. That involved looking up more than one thing. The only way I was able to get down there at all recently was because I was required to be in the area for work. And work arranged everything. They arranged a car for me, they arranged time, they arranged hotel, everything. Everything's set up. Yes, I had to pick things, but it was all from a simple solution. You start making things too complicated for me. You don't give me like, well, here are your limited choices. Boom, you just have these. Pick one. Okay. Sure. And I ended up fucking driving a car, and I didn't kill anybody, including myself. So, whatever. I don't know how, and I'm terrified of driving a car coming out of there, but I'm also terrified of trying to figure out how to fucking use the Newark bus system to maybe get to the New Jersey transfer, to try to figure out how to get to whatever the fuck. Probably I'd have to go into New York City to take the train up to Croton or further north, and I got no idea. It's just so many fucking hops. I got no idea. So like the idea of renting a car at the airport and driving is not that bad. Now, I'm beginning to feel like I have a lot less fear of death as long as I'm on my property. But I am terrified of dying or getting badly injured, so I'm going to die where I can't make it back here. I have to be here. This is where I have to die. And hopefully in a way that, makes it so my body's not retrievable. Which I'm thinking has to be immolation. They'll probably figure out a way to fucking get me out of the property anyway. But I don't have anyone to rely on to make sure that, I'm spread here. maybe I can dissolve myself in acid. Yeah. So I just hope for chance, right? Because I can't manage my oath on my own. Anyway, on that cheery thought, getting back to what? To the time off, yeah. I end up unhinged, but now one thing that I always did to try to reduce that and to make myself happier was I just took every fucking Friday off from one point. So that's what I did this year because they forced me to take them earlier. And so I actually don't have that many days that I have to take off in December, which is kind of cool because everybody else is like not going to be working in December and we're not going to be doing project type stuff. And it kind of doesn't count towards, like, it's just fucked up. Like, our time during December, if we're not doing project work, can't fit the normal metrics. And it's just like, yeah, what am I supposed to do? So I can kind of work on projects on my own during that period. Fuck. But yeah, it's been a while since I've like kind of unleashed. And this isn't, I mean, obviously I'm not just, I never really do. Not at all, really. It's like, and that hurts. It hurts the head not to have to keep a lock on. But it's like, I mean, the only fucking thing I could do that would kind of unleash my feelings is to fucking curl up in a ball and cry and sob and hide. And if I mean, I come close to that. I try not to wake up. I've had days, weekends, whatever, where I just sleep like 20 hours. Maybe not straight, but, pretty close to it. Sometimes more than that. Where I just wish I'd do nothing, I mean, I just don't want to be. I don't want to be awake. I don't want to be. The dreams are sort of my replacement for reality. I mean, I'm always escapist, but in this case, I don't know. At least the pain goes away during them. And here's the problem, I don't want the pain to go away. The pain is all I fucking have left. Everything else is just drowning myself. I just kind of want to hurt so much that I, expire from that. Alright, cheers, folks. But don't fucking think that I'm getting any goddamn better. Just hiding more.